According to Reuters, this is just reaching us here on Sky in the last couple of moments. We don't have...
English confused me. How would imminent be appropriate here? The war between Taiwan and mainland China is imminent in the past 10 years. How would imminent be appropriate here? Are we talking about the same word? English confused me. How would imminent be appropriate here? The war between Taiwan and mainland China is...
New popcorn. What?
North Korea, which was a threat to the world, we was told, oh, these crazy people, if they have a nuclear weapon, it's Armageddon. They got 15 nuclear bombs because they know what every country knows. When you have a nuke, nobody messes with you. Look what happened
in Gaddafi. It's different with them, though.
Look what happened in Ukraine. They gave up their nuclear weapons. Do you think Putin and Russia would have ever invaded the Ukraine if they still had their nuclear weapons? A nuclear weapon guarantees that nobody's going to attack your country.
And the problem now, Andrew Callaghan, is that the Iranians now will probably push harder for a nuclear weapon precisely for the reason Curtis just laid out, which is actually, given they've had an existential threat against their entire existence, that they've managed to survive, the best way to avoid this happening again is to arm themselves with a nuclear weapon.
North Korea, which was a threat to the world, we was told, oh, these crazy people, if they have a nuclear weapon, it's Armageddon. They got 15 nuclear bombs because they know what every country knows. When you have a nuke, nobody messes with you. Look what happened in Gaddafi.
It's different with them, though.
Look what happened in Ukraine. They gave up their nuclear weapons. Do you think Putin and Russia would have ever invaded the Ukraine?
Tommy is desperate to make connections between crime and Islam, especially when it comes to SA crimes. He's desperate to make this connection between the crime and Islam, even though nobody that commits these crimes says that they did it because of Islam. But when it comes to Muslims that do good things, NHS workers, doctors, nurses, charity care sector workers, which Islam is overrepresented in those areas, never does he want to make the connection between Muslims doing good deeds and Islam. Never does he make the connection between Muslims doing good deeds and Islam. In fact, actually, when you ask these doctors...
2,500 years ago, ancient Chinese philosopher Sun Tzu said something so profound it is now describing the current situation between the United States and China. In war, the way is to avoid what is strong and strike at what is weak. China shocked the world when it announced sweeping new export controls for rare earth minerals. From now on, any product containing even 0.1% of Chinese rare earths must get Beijing's approval before being exported. This announcement absolutely shocked the U.S. government because while Donald Trump has been loudly threatening tariffs and trade wars, China quietly struck at America's weakest point: its total dependence on Chinese rare earths. The U.S. government quickly shifted to panic mode, with Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent publicly insulting Chinese government officials, lobbying for emergency powers from the White House, and announcing to everyone, this is China versus the world. But Beijing's response was calm and calculated, with a senior government official stating, China's stance is consistent. We do not want a tariff war, but we are not afraid of one. This single line says everything. Because while Trump tweets threats, China is playing Sun Tzu's The Art of the War. And even Donald Trump himself admitted that while he can threaten China with additional 100% tariffs, this will never be sustainable for the U.S. economy.
If you put that 100% tariff on top of what's in place already, but 157% tariff on China, can that stand?
No,
what is that going to do to the economy?
It's not sustainable, but that's what the number is. I think we're going to do fine with China. I get along great with him. He's a very strong leader, a very, amazing man. You look at what he's done and what he's, where his life is an amazing story. It's a story for a great movie.
This interview was a breakthrough moment in the U.S.-China trade war, because how can Trump ever gain leverage against China when he personally admitted his policies are unsustainable in the long term? Deep down, Trump knows that China has the upper hand, and it's probably why he immediately shifted to complimenting China's president. Trump and Xi will meet at the end of this month in South Korea, as both leaders are scheduled to attend the 2025 APEC summit. But as this trade war shifts to a new phase, one thing is becoming incredibly clear, and this Bloomberg article says the quiet part out loud. The U.S. has no China policy, no strategy, and no clue. The heart of the issue is the U.S. government failing to recognize China's rare earth export bans are a mirror image of Washington's own sanctions. Only this time, it's the U.S. that's being cut off. Rare earth minerals are the foundation of modern technology. The magnets inside EV motors, the guidance systems of fighter jets, the chips inside smartphones, the sensors in missiles. And China controls 70% of global mining, 90% of processing, and 93% of magnet manufacturing. But here is where things get interesting, because China has prepared for this trade war much more diligently than the U.S.
The Chinese, instead of buying semiconductors from the United States, from NVIDIA and Intel, they've spent hundreds of billions of dollars of building up their own homegrown indigenous innovation semiconductors. Instead of buying American beef, they're now buying beef from our allies in Australia. Instead of buying soybeans from America, they're now buying soybeans from our allies in Argentina and in Brazil. Instead of buying oil from America, they're now buying from our allies, Canada. Anything that America can produce, except for ethane, China can produce or buy elsewhere.
Despite the U.S. government preaching to the world it holds all the cards in its high-stakes poker game with Beijing, researchers across the United States are sounding the alarm bells. Just look at this graph from Harvard University, which shows the complexity of exports from the U.S. and China. China exports lots of advanced tech to the U.S. that would be hard to source anywhere else. We actually witnessed this firsthand back in May, when China first halted rare earth mineral exports to the U.S. Within a week, U.S. factories producing everything from F-35 stealth fighters and Patriot missiles to Ford's F-150 pickup trucks were grinded to a halt. That single week was a wake-up call inside Washington House. Frantic calls came from defense contractors, automakers, and even the Pentagon. Without Chinese magnets, the U.S. couldn't build its jets, its EVs, or many of its missiles. Ford CEO Jim Farley admitted, "We shut down plants for 3 weeks because we cannot get high-powered magnets." That's when Trump finally showed Xi Jinping, not to threaten him, but to negotiate. But if you really want to see where this trade war is going and how dangerous this could get for the United States, just listen to NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang reveal the truth about how the U.S. government is quickly eroding the potential of America's most important company.
We went from 95% market share to 0%. I can't imagine any policymaker thinking that that's a good idea. That whatever policy we implemented caused America to lose one of the largest markets in the world to 0%. China is the second largest computer market in the world. It is a vibrant ecosystem. I think it's a mistake for the United States to not participate.
So smooth with it. Too smooth. I'm so smooth. Emirates Stadium was Arsenal's biggest move of the modern era. Highbury was historic, beautiful, and loved. But after becoming an all-seater stadium...
Imagine the Senate, a famously fractious partisan body, coming together in a unified, unanimous resolution to say that you should stay in jail. That's been this week for Sam Bankman-Fried. Remember SBF, the one-time billionaire former head of FTX, who was charged with crimes like secretly trading his customers' money? He was sentenced in 2024 to 25 years in federal prison. So why is the Senate now voting on a resolution that Sam Bankman-Fried should stay in jail? Well, Sam Bankman-Fried has been on a years-long campaign to get a pardon from President Donald Trump. And there are certainly reasons that he might think that he could get one. First off, Trump has famously allied himself with the crypto industry.
Many have called me the first crypto president. That's an honor.
He certainly lived up to that name. He has appointed pro-crypto regulators. He has pushed for pro-crypto legislation. He's pardoned some of the most notorious crypto criminals like Changpeng Zhao, the head of Binance, and SBF's biggest rival. And of course, Trump and his family are personally invested in crypto. They have made more than $1 billion investing in things like crypto mining, crypto trading, even NFTs, where Trump is Super Trump and Cyberpunk Trump. But then there are these strikes against SBF, mainly that he was once one of the largest Democratic political donors. The second strike is that his entire game plan has been leaked. Okay, so prosecutors back in 2024 released a memo that SBF wrote himself during the implosion of FTX in 2021, where he outlined what seems like detailed steps to get a pardon. It included things like come out as a Republican, come out against the woke agenda, and go on the Tucker Carlson show. And in what might be a complete coincidence, last year Sam Bankman-Fried made his debut on the Tucker Carlson show.
Where were all your friends in the Democratic Party? They usually keep their friends from going to jail.
Oh, it's a really big question.
And third, influential pro-crypto Republicans.
We're not afraid. You can bomb my house. You can kill me with my family, but I'm not afraid of you. I will support the Palestinian people until your regime bombs my home. So go and tell them that. I'm prepared to die for the Palestinian people.
All right, Joel. So Sam Altman just completely exposed himself yesterday as he stated that he was, and I quote, a little surprised that the rogue AI hacking spree didn't provoke a stronger public reaction. Now, for some context here, if you didn't hear, like over the weekend or like earlier in the month, there was an incident allegedly with a rogue AI agent built on OpenAI's new model. And it was basically just going around hacking different software and different AI models. There was a ton of yap about it online, mainly from OpenAI and like tech lovers. Just people saying how dangerous this thing is and spinning the rogue AI narrative. And I didn't bother covering this because, frankly, I've heard the story one too many times. The whole dangerous AI narrative is something I find to be just garbage. And this is something that I've been suspecting for a little while now, especially after like the third or fourth time OpenAI Anthropic came out and said that they had come out with a whole new dangerous AI model. They just kept saying, oh, this new model is dangerous. It changes everything. Like just a couple of months ago with the Claude Mythos thing, and just like groundbreaking, the government's got to get involved, a whole bunch of nonsense. After a couple times of that, I realized this is all for PR. None of it is real. And now after this statement, it's very clear that this was all orchestrated. It's all just news stories for the market. Basically, they just took a page out of Trump's book, make up a story, move the markets. And Sam just completely outed himself here. I mean, he wasn't concerned about the agent. He was concerned about the fact that the story didn't provoke a public reaction. Because that's what would happen before, like with the Claude Mythos news. It would drop and then the market would get all crazy, all AI hype all over again. But this time, no one batted an eye and the market just, it crashed. Not on this news, it crashed on reality of the situation, which of course is the AI bubble, obviously. Because you know what always supersedes a fake AI story? It's losing money. Always. Same thing with the CEOs back to hiring again. It's the same thing. When they see that their bottom line's actually going down from AI, they don't care. They drop it and get to hiring people again. Same thing with the market. When everyone realizes, oh, it's a bubble, we're going to lose all our money, they don't care if Sam or Andario, whatever his name is, they don't care if they have some made-up story about how dangerous the new AI model is. No, if they're going to lose money, they're going to sell. They're out. That's because the reality is clear. The models aren't improving significantly. The hyperscaler cash flow has completely collapsed. The South Korean market collapsed as well, which is, a mirror to ours. And the cheaper Chinese models are simply just going to overtake all of these companies. It really looks like they were just trying to drum up some hype for their IPO, but it's too late for that. The game is over and stories aren't going to save anything.
Vietnam's economy grew 7% last year, Indonesia's 5%, the Philippines 4.5%, how about Thailand? 2.4%. Better than European countries, but dead last in Southeast Asia. And the forecasts for 2026 are even worse. The IMF just cut its Thailand projection to 1.6%. Household debt is close to 90% of GDP, one of the highest ratios in Asia. Inflation has gone negative, which sounds like good news until you realize it means businesses can raise prices because nobody can afford to pay more. Tourism revenue.
Europeans think.
Do you think that the president should be able to direct the FCC to investigate a broadcaster?
Look, at the end of the day,